Okay, cadets, this is Lecture 3A, Diffraction and Interference. And today, we're going to discuss my very favorite equation in the whole world, the grading equation. Now, the grading equation is derived from, you guessed it, K-surfaces. This K-surface is a little different than the ones you've seen before. It's rotated 90 degrees. And at the interface, there is a grating with a spatial period big lambda. Now, we go about solving this surface problem in the same way we have in the past with a few tweaks. We go ahead and drop a perpendicular to get beta. And this is where it gets really different. The grating has its own spatial frequency. And this spatial frequency interacts with this beta. We call the grating spatial frequency big K. It is both similar and different to the little k vectors you've seen before. It is similar because it has a magnitude equal to 2 pi over lambda, big lambda in this case. It is different, however, because big lambda is the same, no matter what the material is that it's in. That is to say that big K is not proportional to the index of refraction. It is also different because it has no preferred direction. We get to choose which direction it's going. In this coordinate system, up is the positive direction and down is the negative direction. Finally, the big K vector is different because it lives at the interface where momentum is conserved. Because momentum is conserved here, we can add beta and K together to get a brand new beta. Beta out. Beta out is equal to beta in plus K. And beta out is in turn the projection of a brand new K vector we'll call K out. K out represents the ray of light after it has been diffracted by the grating. It is our output light. If we expand our vector sum at the interface, we get the following terms. These terms, if we cancel out 2 pi in each of these terms, and we take lambda and bring it to the other side, we get the grading equation. Now you should memorize this equation, or at least be able to derive it on command at any time. When using the grading equation, always remember to measure your angles from this axis shown, negative down and positive up. Now, astute viewers will have noticed that I snuck in a little m variable here. This brings us to diffracted orders. We can add K more than once. In fact, we can do it several times. Each new addition gives rise to a new order of diffraction. Here we see the positive 4th order diffracted beam. We can also subtract big K to get negative orders. But don't get too greedy. If you add or subtract big K too many times, your output will become evanescent. Now let's look at an important special case. The case of Bragg diffraction. Bragg diffraction occurs when the input and output K vectors have the same angle magnitude. You can think of this as the case when the grating happens to diffract light at the same angle that it would have reflected it. In many Bragg systems, this is actually what happens. With reflection and diffraction working together, Bragg diffraction can be very efficient, up to 100% in fact, as we will see. We can derive the angle needed to achieve Bragg diffraction by equating the input and the output betas, and recognizing that big K must be equal to 2 times beta for the input and output angles to be equal in magnitude, though opposite in sign. When theta out is the negative of theta in, you have the Bragg condition. We name the output angle the Bragg angle. This is a little non-intuitive. Instead of naming the input angle, for example, the Bragg angle. But everything comes out nicer if we do it this way. If we apply the Bragg condition to the grading equation, shown here, we see that the sine terms now add, and we can solve for the Bragg angle, which is equal to the arcsine of m lambda over 2 times big lambda. Fun fact, some gratings are so thick that they become waveguides, and only the first order of diffraction is allowed to propagate. For thick gratings illuminated using the Bragg condition, only one output order survives, giving 100% diffraction efficiency.